What's up, everybody? I'm Simon Sabro, and today we're going to be talking about the latest one-shot by Tatsuki Fujimoto, which is Goodbye Eri. So before we jump into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram at SimonSabroYT. The link for that will be in the description down below. Also, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell so you never miss an upload, all that good stuff, and comment down how you feel about Tatsuki Fujimoto in general, like Chainsaw Man, Fire Punch, Look Back, all that good stuff. Just how you feel about him. But with all that out the way, let's just jump right into it. Alright, so Goodbye Eri was created by the same person who made Chainsaw Man, Look Back, and Fire Punch. Me personally, I have not read Fire Punch, but I have read the other two works by him. Now, honestly, I loved it. And just to start out, the manga itself, Goodbye Eri, has some very interesting paneling techniques that were used in it. And I'll put up screenshots, so y'all can see along. But the paneling technique kind of resembles like a stop motion, where it's like just very minuscule amount of movement from panel to panel, which I found really interesting and suit the story very well. Another mangaka that kind of uses this technique is actually Kengo Hanazawa in I Am a Hero. I'm gonna show y'all an example of what I mean by Hanazawa here. This is really like the same technique where from panel to panel it's just so minuscule the amount of things that actually are changing, but it's used, like I said, by Fujimoto here to really do the same thing. And I think Fujimoto did a really good job at it, honestly. And because the story is basically about the main character kind of making a movie, it was a really good choice. And another thing that I found really interesting, to an extent, it kind of feels like Fujimoto, kind of sprinkled a little bit of himself in the main character, which is Yuta. Little backtrack a bit, but the story is about, or it starts out with this main character named Yuta, and he gets a phone for his birthday, and his mom asks him to record basically the rest of her life until she dies because she is very ill. So he spends a good amount of time just recording his mom until the day that she dies. But to an extent, like I said, I do feel like this was kind of a bit of an autobiography. Not really. Similar to like a lot of people will say that Downfall by Inio Asano was also a bit of an autobiography by him, or at least kind of drizzled a little bit of himself in the main character. But I did find it really interesting, to say the least. But continuing on with the story, so Yuta, kind of just is filming his mom, and at first, as the reader, I was like, okay, I mean, I'm assuming his mom's name is probably Eri at this point, but then it gets to the point where his mom is like really about to die, and Yuta has to film her very last moments, and he gets to the hospital and runs away from the hospital instead of going into the hospital room to film his mom. And from here, the story takes a very interesting turn that I was not expecting. And what happens is the hospital explodes while Yuta is running away from it. And when I saw it, I was like, wait a second, what? kind of thing. And then you come to find out that it was a school project that Yuta was doing. And he basically took his mother's death and just, took certain parts of it, made it into a film, and the explosion he added in because it was awesome. And this kind of plays into like how I feel like in Fujimoto's works, he'll kind of just throw something in because he feels it was awesome. I've heard a lot of people say that about Fire Punch. Like, I haven't read it, but I've heard a lot of people, mostly my friends, say like Fire Punch just had random things in it, but it was cool. It was random, but it was cool kind of thing. And I feel like, that's a technique Fujimoto uses, and he used that or the main character Yuta also kind of uses that same technique. Now, after that happens, Yuta gets a lot of backlash from all of the everybody. Basically, he gets a lot of backlash, like, why would you use your mother's death like that? What were you thinking, kind of thing. And Yuta takes it pretty horribly, and he goes to the same hospital that his mom died at, and he attempts to jump off of the roof. But then he meets this one character named Eri, and Eri is a very mysterious character just from the first panel that we see her in. And it's like the questions running through my head were like, what is she doing on the hospital? Was she also about to jump? What's going on here? And she says to Yuta, like, I'm not gonna stop you, but just don't do it at this hospital, do it at a different hospital, because you'll ruin the reputation. And then she realizes that it's Yuta, and she was actually the only person that really messed with or liked Yuta's movie. So she kind of like takes him to an abandoned building, and they sit there and they just watch movies together. And I personally thought, I was really just mind blown, because the story already, and I think this is probably like maybe in the first 100 or maybe like 60 pages or so, and the story already has been twisting and turning in ways that I could not expect. And there was still like a good another 100 or so pages I had to get through, because it was 200 pages. And I was genuinely excited to see where the story would go from here. Now, things happen, and Yuta ends up filming Eri, because Eri also has the same illness that Yuta's mom had. So instead of Yuta really like living his own life, he spent most of his life just filming other people's deaths, which I find very interesting, the irony of it. Now from here, I am gonna like skip to talking about the ending, because I don't really want to talk about everything page to page, because that'd take way too long. So I am gonna give my impressions on the ending. If maybe you haven't finished reading it yet, click off, kind of go finish reading it. It is really good. Come back and hear what I have to say about it. But I did warn you, so I'm now gonna start talking about the ending. What I found most interesting, really just toward just the ending part of it, was that it's very similar to like how Yuta's mom was. She wasn't the same person that was portrayed in the movie, and it was the same thing with Eri. After the movie, Yuta shows the movie to the school. This one girl who is also Eri's friend comes to Yuta and is like, where was Eri's glasses? Where was her retainer? Like, that's not the Eri I know. And this kind of portrays that like the way you display somebody can be completely different from how the person actually was, because Yuta just highlighted all of the good moments of both his mom and Eri, despite the regular human flaws that they had. He never showed those. He just showed only the good moments, which really like just the message from that alone was really good, honestly. So now, fast forward, Yuta is a lot older, all that stuff, and he has a family going on of his own, even though he himself didn't really have much of the will to go on. He said that he kept going through all the footage of him and Eri, trying to figure out what was missing from the movie. Like, he felt like something wasn't right. Like it wasn't complete, kind of thing. And he was going through with his family. He said it was okay, like he didn't mind. But he gets into an accident and he loses his wife, daughter, and his father. So now it's just him, and once again contemplates suicide due to just the loss of other people. And he goes back to the building where him and Eri watched a bunch of movies, and in that building he meets Eri once again. And as the reader, I was sitting here like, is he hallucinating? What's going on? Like, kind of thing. And now Eri explains that she's actually a vampire, and her life basically is like resetting every 200 years or so. And the Eri he knew was kind of the same Eri, but she lost all of her memories now. And at first it's like, okay, this is really interesting but really weird. And this is kind of like what I meant by Fujimoto will just throw something in because it's just awesome kind of thing. And because in the film that Yuta was filming for Eri, he made her a vampire to kind of, you know, put a little fantasy in it. But now, because she is a vampire, really, it's no longer that fantasy because it's kind of true. And, you know, they have a little conversation going on, and Eri kind of offers Yuta, you know, like, if you're not going to watch the movie, get out. And Yuta decides to leave, and as he's leaving, he realizes what the movie was missing. And as he walks out of the building explodes. And honestly, I really loved this ending. And from the panel work, the setup, just everything about just like the last 5 panels was amazing to me. And honestly, the part that I find the most interesting about this one shot in general is that you kind of read the same story twice, whereas the same things that happened with his mom is the same things that happened with Eri, kind of. Whereas he highlights their good moments, but they weren't really known for that. He also contemplates suicide due to, you know, other people's deaths and really just other people's impact on him. You know, same thing goes with like filming another person's death. It follows a very similar pattern all throughout, yet still remains very unpredictable somehow. But all in all, I really enjoyed reading this one shot, and I did read it a second time for this video, and I did read it a third time also for this video, and I loved it every single time that I read it. If you haven't read it, I don't know why you clicked the video, but definitely go and read it. It is definitely worth it. If maybe this is like the first thing you've ever read by Tatsuki Fujimoto, I would definitely recommend reading Chainsaw Man. It is really good. I don't own it, but I have read it on the Shonen Jump app along with this one shot. I do have I'll put a link in the description for a video I made about the Shonen Jump app if you're interested. Once again, this one shot was amazing, honestly, just genuinely all around amazing. I might end up rereading it a 4th time, I don't know, but that's really all from me. Once again, comment down how you felt about the one shot, Tatsuki Fujimoto, you know, just comment down just how you feel about him overall or anything really. Once again, be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe to see more, hit the bell so you never miss an upload, and that's all from me. This is Simon Sabro signing out. I'll catch you on the next one.